So if you've ever got stuck with your projects, it's probably because you're a sprinter, not a marathon runner, and after a while, you tend to lose energy. And so I want to shift your kind of expectations or your paradigm, your metaphor for what a project looks like. It's not a marathon, and it's actually not a single sprint. What a project is, it's a 4 by 100 meter relay. Okay, 4 by 100 meters. It's Olympics time right now. You know what I'm talking about. And so if you think about the 4 pieces of a 100 meter, 4 by 100 meter relay, only one of those pieces is yours. So what I want to do right now is I want to give you the 4 steps. I learnt this, kind of the basis of this from Dan Sullivan, who I love at Strategic Coach, and I heard it on his podcast. Really, really useful. And I've added a little piece to it, but I think it'd be super helpful for you. So if you think about a 4 by 100 meter sprint, what does a sprint look like? Well, there's 4 runners and there's 4 stages. So firstly, in fact, if you let's draw this in here. So there's 4 runners, 4 stages, 4 tools that we use. So let's think about who, what, how. Okay, so there's 4 stages, 4 runners in this 4 by 100 meter sprint. The first runner is you, the coach. Okay, so you, the coach, what do? You make it up, right? You invent what you want. We'll talk about the tools in a minute, but just right now you just need to know that your job as a coach is to make it up. You have to figure out what you want, what it's going to look like, what it looks like when it's done well, what's the benefits to us as a business, what's the cost if we get it wrong. Okay, and when it's done well, here's what it'll look like. You make it up. Then you've got a project manager. And their job is to take what you've made up and make it real. Okay, we'll talk about the tools in a little bit. So project manager, coach makes it up. That's you. Project manager takes that idea, makes it real. Third step. So now you've got something that's built. Let's do a quick poll. If you had to choose between either, do you prefer starting new things, or do you prefer to design a system or follow a system repeatedly forever? Would you rather kind of invent something, or make it recur? Which one of those two is most like you? Yeah, Jeff says I'd rather design it or invent it. Yeah, design, invent, be creative. Totally. Exactly, right? So far, everyone I've seen says they'd rather invent it. So you think about this. Your project manager is probably someone a little bit like you. They've got way more implementer than you do, but they probably don't love boring, repetitive tasks any more than you do. Maybe at the start it's the same person, but at some stage I reckon you'll go from, you have you, the coach who makes it up. We'll have a project manager who takes your idea and makes it real, and they vibe on taking your idea, making it happen, and then handing it off to somebody else and calling it done, right? And so we need a third person. This is one of the mistakes we made early. I had this piece dialed so good, and then my project manager would make it real, and then we'd do it one time, and we're like, that's awesome, and we both forget about it. We get so excited about the next thing that we forgot to make sure it was embedded in the business and happened regularly. So then we've got this third role. It's got a process manager, right? It could be a ninja, a VA, right? In fact, both of these two roles could easily be VAs. And their job is to take what you've made up, the project manager made real, and make it recur. Right? So you make it up, project manager makes it real, and then we've got to, part of their job is to document it and systemize it so that somebody else can just kind of push the buttons every Friday like they're supposed to, right? So one of my ideas a while ago was I want to be able to create content for a webinar like this on my iPad. And so, but I don't want to make the slides. right? So I built a little work, here's how I want it. This webinar that we're on right now looks, look like that. And I just want to give that page to somebody else and have it come back perfect. And so Mike is the project manager around content, helped make that real. And now Ali, designer in the Philippines, makes it recur. She wasn't great at building, first-time design, but she's really good at assembly, which this job, so now I made it up. I want to be able to scribble and have slides and worksheets come back. Mike, the project manager, built that into a system. Mike doesn't want to build my slides every time. So Ali, the process manager, takes the scribbles into Mike's template, builds the slides you're looking at today and the worksheets we're writing on right now. Make sense? Make it up, make it real, make it recur. Now, I said it's a 4x100 meter relay. The fourth piece is optional but super valuable. This is where periodically, maybe once a quarter or whenever it needs it, the whole team gets involved and we make it better. We review what's working, what's not, what can we do differently next time. And there's tools for each of them. So I just want to pause right now and just go about this idea of the 4x100 meter sprint. Here's what we're saying. Your job, now that you know that it's a 4x100 meters, your job is to run the first 100 meters, make it up, and then pass it off. Yeah? So knowing that that's the game we're playing, what's been most helpful about this piece so far? We've gone really deep on point number 2, and I think we needed to. What's been most helpful about this for you so far? I'll give you a sec. Jesse goes, I just realized I'm missing a process manager. Yeah, that was a huge aha for me too. Oh, my light went off. There we go. Knowing who does what, says Lisa. Distinction between project manager, process manager. Yeah, isn't it interesting? And so could they be the same person? Totally. Especially at like startup, they could totally be the same person. But just personality-wise, some people prefer to do new, and some people prefer to kind of run out of process. These guys here, when you come up with a new idea, they get so excited about it. And these guys here, when you give them a new idea, they kind of hate your guts because they like it fine just the way it is right now. Sean says, this is some next level because one day I can have things working like this. The dream is ignited. Yeah, man. So all we need to do right now, bro, is just start with like, who's your one next hire? And they don't have to be full time. Like, we've got a few different projects. There's probably 4 different people running projects doing this project manager role for different things, just because they're best suited to it. But it started off with just one VA, and she was kind of juggling these 2 things, mate. So don't feel like it's got to be a long way off. Cyril says, great methodology segmentation isn't the key to find the right people. Yes, totally is. Eric says, makes me understand why I haven't been getting the results I'm after. Yes.